Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Frame Podcast. I'm with Fremi and Dewan as per usual, and we're just going to talk about the recent title of the PS5. So I'm going to shut up because I don't know too much about it, to be perfectly honest. So I'm going to hand over to Femi. So yeah, Femi, what do you think?
Yeah, in regards to the reveal of the actual of the PS5, it actually was pretty amazing. The design was sleek. It looked very good. It was different in terms of design. It was different from all the previous generations of the PlayStation, and it sort of just I don't want to say it, but it sort of puts the Xbox Series X to shame because the Xbox Series X just looks like it's just a box. It looks like a box, a fridge sometimes,
A fridge,
even a bin, even a bin as well. And that's coming from a from an Xbox. I wouldn't say a fanboy, but someone who did enjoy having the Xbox 360. So in terms of design, I gave that to the PlayStation 5. And even for me, I feel like I'm probably going to end up purchasing the PlayStation 5 first if the prices are probably like if the prices are the same. But yeah, so what do you think about the design, Duan?
Well, I mean, it was just the showcase in general was quite amazing. Before we got to the reveal, I kind of thought they have to give something. Okay, the games are amazing. I mean, when they started off with the Rockstar brand coming up, the logo, and I thought, oh, this is going to be GTA 6, but it came up with the GTA 5. Michael and Trevor, you can hear their voice, and then it talked about GTA 5 being sort of free online on the next gen. I mean, this is a game that was back in when was it? 2013 when it first got released.
I know.
PS3, Xbox 360. Now we're talking about next gen, and they're still being supported. And that's how big Rockstar are, and people do love their games, and there's a reason for it. But I think because there's been rumors that GTA 6 might be a timed exclusive PlayStation, I thought maybe the fact is they want to know how many people are going to download the game, because it's going to be free for all PS5 owners. So they want to see who's going to download it. So then when the GTA 6, if they do agree to the GTA 6, they can see how many people they can sell to. Because if they're going to just do a time exclusive PlayStation, they don't want to lose out to Xbox, isn't it? So that's that. And in terms of at the end, like as you were questioning, sorry, about the design. The design looks really cool. A lot of people comparing it to a router or some sort of futuristic. It looks amazing, to be fair. I mean, the color, it's a different color. It's a different design that we're not used to. And yeah, I really like it. I like the fact that what they've also done is shown a sort of a family bundle. We've got two different versions, one with a disc and the other one without. And which is something that's quite interesting, because you don't have that with option in many ways, and the fact that they've looked into it and they just made these two different designs, and then the only issue is though, when it comes to the one being without the disc, what I'm thinking is if both are going to be the same price, let's say both, I don't know, maybe 500 quid or whatever estimated, but then one of them will be the non-disc to be like a 2 terabytes, because games nowadays, the download size is huge. I mean, you can look at Modern Warfare, it's like 200 gigabytes. It's ridiculous. So they what they have to do is, if they're going to do a non-disc, they have to increase the hard drive by at least another terabyte.
The specs of the have they revealed the actual hard drive for each for both for the PS5? Has it been released already?
Not really. There hasn't been an official statement. What they have mentioned as much is not the specs specifically, but what the power. So, for example, with the PlayStation, the fact that is there's no loading screen like with Ratchet and Clank. We sort of got this fast loading screen, things changing from one room to another, and it was quite. I'm not really a Ratchet and Clank fan, but it did look really good.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because even for me too, like I played the first Ratchet and Clank remake that they did, and to just see how fast all the stages are loading in and how fast everything is going, it actually, it looks impressive. And I heard that they said that the the Ratchet and Clank, that game could never ever run on the PS4 and the Xbox. Yeah, Series X, not Series X. I mean Xbox One. I couldn't, because of obviously the what the console, what the game is doing. Those on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are not able to do it. So it just goes to show how powerful and how efficient the PS5 and maybe the Xbox Series X is, basically.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's overall, I liked the the PS5. I liked how it looks. I like the fact that they've got a lot of exclusive games, a lot of games, which I feel like Microsoft slash or Xbox is missing. They've not got as many IPs that I would love them to have. While the PS5, they've got Spider-Man, they've got obviously Ratchet and Clank, they've got Horizon, they've even had a chance to introduce like new IPs as well. So it's they've just got games upon games upon games. So it's like they've gone out to they set out to do something, which is, we're going to give you a game console, and we're going to give you games to play on the game console.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than here's a powerful hardware, but you're not really going to use it. It's like the Xbox One X, when it's such a powerful hardware, but you're not really using its power because the games aren't really, I don't know, it's not using its power to the extent. Okay, it's probably using the Xbox One S, a PS4, even a PS4 Pro is still got enough power to run, but with the Xbox One X, it's a powerful hardware, but you're not using it, and that's the sad part. And I don't want the next gen consoles. I don't think it will be, but especially Xbox One Series X. If there's rumors that the console is actually more powerful than the PS4 Pro, but the PS5. But it's not about that. It's exactly like you said. They need to have good games, and they don't seem to offer much except for third party and the Xbox Games Pass, which is the only thing that keeps the Xbox being, the only thing that makes someone who owns an Xbox happy is just the Games Pass.
Yeah, I know that's definitely true. And I was even reading somewhere, and they were having like a discussion about like, like eventually would it come to a time where Microsoft will be like, oh gosh, because we've not got many IPs on our console, and we've not got many, I can't say games, but they've just not got, many IPs on their console. Would it become a time where they would pull out of the console war and just be like, okay, we're not getting enough games on our console. We're just going to leave it for Sony to obviously, just dominate the gaming industry, because I own obviously I own an Xbox and I own a PlayStation, and you can obviously see the difference between both. For the Xbox, I feel like it's more, although it's powerful, it's more like an entertainment system. It's like you've just got a system that you can watch Netflix and YouTube on. While for the PlayStation, it's like you've got something that's you can also watch Netflix and YouTube on it, but it gives you games to play on it as well. So it just seems a lot more logical to get a PS5, basically. Even if you're gonna get both, well, it just seems like a PS5 would be the better console again.
I agree. I agree.
Uh,
'Cause it does look like that. I mean, just remember the amount of views it got on the live stream on the day was about 7 million views, or
wow.
over 7 million views. That shows the sort of, not just the gaming community, but the fact that there are so many people who are interested in this console and to find out what Sony's doing to upgrade from the PS4, because obviously that's already the best-selling console in this current gen, and they've done so much well with the games they've offered, such as God of War. I would say it was one of my favorite games of all time, and then you got games like Bloodborne, Last of Us, remastered, but The Last of Us 2 is coming out in June 19th, so in a few days' time. And then you've got what else? Uncharted series, which is another amazing game.
That was crazy.
They've got really good games, and Microsoft had the opportunity when they sort of showcased one of their new IPs at the time. I think it was E3 2018 or 2019. It was Scalebound. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Yeah, I think I might have heard of Scalebound. Yeah.
It was sort of like a new IP Microsoft was offering, and it felt a bit like Monster Hunter. The fact that there was a dragon and a character that you're playing as, and it looked really good and impressive, and a different side to the common IPs that or franchises that Microsoft have offered to players before, and it was something new. And then unfortunately, like I think it was 6 months after it was announced, it got cancelled.
Wow.
And everybody was disappointed that, okay, at the time Microsoft, when they announced it, everybody was like, oh, okay, we're really interested, and let's see what Microsoft are trying to offer and it's a new path. But it just got cancelled.
Yeah, I don't understand though. I don't know why they are not taking advantage, because Microsoft is a much bigger company than Sony. Like, they are even far richer, but for some reason I feel like they're not utilizing their resources properly. Like, they're not doing what they need to do, and it's like I feel like the last time they actually tried, like really tried to get people to enjoy their console was the Xbox 360, and after that they just either don't know what to do or just don't care. So it's like, oh, okay, and I'm not even gonna lie as well. It sort of it sort of shows in the design as well, because if you even look at it, the design, it's a freaking brick. So it's like, to me it seems like they all sat together like, okay, how do you want to design this console? They're like, that brick over there, let's just make it an actual box. It says in the name anyway, so let's make a box. People are gonna like that, and that's I know, and then that's it. Yeah, I remember when the first time when they obviously came out with the design, and people there were obviously some people that were saying, oh, the design is very sleek. I can't remember, is it contemporary? I don't even know what word they were using, but they were like, it's very like, it's like a minimalist design, and I was like, nah, that just looks like a brick, man. It does. It's just it's not got any shape to it. It's just
nothing,
a box,
isn't it? Yeah, and even its power supply, Charlie, like how huge it is.
I don't.
Why can't you think about it? Why can't you design something that's, they've got some really good games that they already have, which people like on the Xbox, with the big franchise like Halo, Gears of War. So they've got some decent IPs. Just why they're not trying to create something new and try to engage with the gaming community a bit more. They've got some amazing servers, to be fair, some really good servers and some really good hardware. Their software is amazing as well. Microsoft, obviously, with the success they've been having, and their new project. I can't remember what's this new Azure, that's it. The Azure cloud they've got,
Yeah.
which is they can use that to utilize the next gen platform, such as their current game that they've designed with their engine, the flight simulator, which I'm really interested to see how that comes off on as a next gen, probably exclusive, more likely. But they've got some really cool software platform engines, and we don't know yet. Obviously, we don't know what they have, because right now PlayStation's done their bit. They're like, now it's over to you, Microsoft. Let's see what you can do. Yeah. So what are they gonna do is the big question, because will Microsoft come out and do a presentation and show off new franchise games and new IPs and try to create this conversation going, or are they just gonna say, look, we've got our hands up, we can't compete, I'm sorry, PlayStation won it, go on, buy it, just leave us alone now.
Man, but to be honest though, it feels like it might eventually come to that, because if you look at it this way, like most of the games that comes out on the Xbox are accessible to PC gamers. So because I think my brother told me that the like Gears of War is also playable on PC.
You're right.
So the exclusivity that that those IP have on those consoles are no longer there anymore. If you've got a PC, you can play it. So it's like, so what have you got then? Like what have you got to bring to the table, apart from saying, oh gosh, my console is so powerful, you can switch from YouTube to Netflix in an instant. It's like it takes 0.01 seconds to do that switch. It's just it's just mad seeing how underutilized they're making their console to be. I feel like, for me personally, in terms of the Microsoft history with gaming, the Xbox Slim, I felt like that was the perfect balance, because they pushed for the online community, because obviously back then online was like a huge thing, like multiplayer online. They pushed for that. They were getting, buying. They had at least a lot more IPs back then, and if you can remember that they even utilized the avatars, even the avatars that we normally did.
It was a lot more editing and design looks that you could get. That's right.
Yeah, and they even made games that you could play with those avatars. So if you want to play with your kid brother or sister, you can play that with them. And even the way they even like did the Kinect for the not the one for the Xbox One that nobody uses, the one for the Xbox One, the Kinect for the Xbox 360. They utilized that properly, created different games for it. It was a fun console, but I felt like all that was just lost once the Xbox One came in. And I feel like, I don't know about the Xbox 3 Series X, but from what I'm seeing, it seems as if they're going the exact same route again, which is that they're going to focus on one thing, and that is our console is powerful, and not focus on, actually, we need games on our console. But
that's right.
I feel like we're just gonna have to wait and see, because I think, is it on July they're gonna have their own conference, or I can't remember.
I'm not sure if it's if they may and do something this month or likely August. But I agree with what you're saying, that the fact is about the games, and that's what was so interesting about this showcase from PlayStation, was the games. I mean, when they started off the GTA and then they went on to the Spider-Man. I mean,
I know
that was a big one. I was like, whoa, okay, is it Spider-Man 2? But then they apparently said that it's not a sequel, it's some sort of standalone Miles Morales, who you're playing as, or whatever the name is, and then the fact is that it's I believe it's in the same universe because that character was obviously in the original, the one that came out just recently. And I think it's probably within the same universe. But it looked quite cool from what the gameplay was looking.
Yeah.
And that looked really good, and that was quite amazing to showcase. And then the fact that they also showed some sport games, like Gran Turismo 7. I thought, wow, that looks really amazing. They had some sort of the user interface that they showed off with the gameplay and GT Part Shop and GT Cafe. These were quite interesting to look at, and how fast things are flowing from the gameplay. And even that game was, I think, the most interesting new IP from my perspective, was Project Attire, as I mentioned. Because it had that similarity to the game that they showcased for the Unreal Engine 5. And honestly, it looks even better than that.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy, like, because like for the PlayStation 5, it seems as if Sony, they didn't just focus on the graphics looking its best. They weren't like they were like, okay, I feel like they focused on how efficient everything is. The graphics needs to be good, the speed needs to be fast, everything needs to be efficient, And if I was to make a comparison, I think I saw this on another YouTube, on another YouTuber's channel, and it was like, if I were to compare the Xbox and the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, what I would do is that, do you watch Dragon Ball Z? Do you know anything about Dragon Ball Z? Yeah. So he says he's gonna compare the Xbox Series X to Broly, and because it's pure power, just pure power and nothing else. And he's gonna compare the PlayStation 5 to Goku in his Ultra Instinct because it's an efficient, exactly, it's an efficient fighter. It's efficient in everything it does.
That does actually sum it up in most ways. But the thing that was also interesting about the design with the PlayStation is if you look into the detail, the controller and the console, the base of it with the white, there's symbols. All of the PlayStation symbols are actually on that base, if that makes sense. So if you look into the pictures for detail, so all that white you see is actually what the symbols, this triangle, the O, the square, and the X, all around the base of the console and the controller.
Oh yeah, I think I saw it. That is like a nice Easter egg they just put on their own console. You see, that is innovation.
There you go. That's how special they've actually taken time, designed something for the community and to be appreciated of. I would say, because a lot of these things, hardware designs, things like that, it's just here you go and piss off basically. But these guys have actually taken their time and designed something which is very, very cool.
Yeah. I didn't even notice that actually. I didn't notice that they did all that. Wow, that just makes me even more hyped for the PS5 now. That makes me more hyped. It just shows, as you said, it just shows the care and effort that they take. They care for their customers, and they want to actually show that, okay, we care so much, so we're gonna put all these little details that when you pick up the console, you look at it like you're gonna be like, oh gosh, I didn't see that before. That's new, and that is great, And I just wish Microsoft was, would do the same, and not just be like, oh gosh, look at my power. Look at my power. Here is my power. Just look at my power, because that's what it seems like they're doing now, and I feel like obviously they're gonna hope they're hoping that Halo. I think obviously because they're working on. I think they're working on a new Halo. They're hoping that Halo would obviously drag in a lot of customers, which it might. It might, but if it's just Halo that it's got, then again it's going to stop. Yeah, it's just going to
quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah,
they rely on one game to do
one game. But exactly.
Another thing is the with the PS5 is that they have this 3D surround sound that they've been boasting about with the console, and the console comes with a headset which actually it's a wireless headset which is to utilize that 3D effect because obviously most headphones might not have that effect, and like how they with the PlayStation 3 when it first came out, they had this new Blu-ray disc and it was something new at the time. I think this is what they're going for the next gen, is the headsets with this 3D sound effect.
Oh wow!
Which is the next gen tech.
Oh, so they're even trying to improve the sound system and all that. Wow.
And that's what they've said. That they say that with this console, yes, it's quite fast. The ray tracing effects, and the graphics and things that is processed is amazing. But they said that the most new techie thing is the sound, and they did, I think it was Mark Cerny, one of the special guys of Sony's sort of gaming tech, I would say, because he represents all the PlayStations quite hugely from the Sony fans, and he had a showcase a few months ago about PS5, and he was telling about how the sound is actually quite amazing. And I think that when they announced the headset, it was called the 3D Effect headset audio. And I think that's what that headset is representing, is the new sound effect that is like the Blu-ray of sound. That makes sense.
So it's basically, you'd say it's like a very polished sound system, basically. That's
and effect, like your 3D effect. So where you are sitting in front of your TV, you can feel the sound, if that makes sense. Wow. Imagine there's someone walking from the left corner of your room towards you. You can hear it exactly at a point where that sound is exactly coming from. That's how amazing that sound is on the next gen console. I don't know if it is common on Xbox Series X, because with the Xbox, what they've been announcing more proud of is the smart remember the ray tracing, I don't know, the smart effect, the smart X, I think they call it related. So basically what happens, any old the Xbox One games, Xbox 360, Xbox original, what happens is it upscales the graphics from that gen onto the Xbox Series 1X to make it more higher in graphics than it actually is.
And that's what I can say. It seems like that's the Microsoft, what they are literally caring about is obviously how good the game is. How good it looks. I mean, how good the game looks. So they ignore all factors of we need games to. We need to just make our game look nice. Even if we've just got one game, we need to just make that one game look really, 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 really nice, and people come. But anyway, apart from that, imagine that surround sound with VR. Imagine playing that with VR. That would be crazy.
That's the main effect that with the new, because I think they're making a new headset. PlayStation VR headset coming out. I think they might announce it probably next year, because it's right now they want to concentrate all of their fans on the PS5 right now, and then maybe next year will be the PSVR, and then because apparently it can still support, the PS5 can support the current VR, but the new one is going to be even better with exactly that, with those sound effects and improvements.
Yeah, that would be great to see. You know, because now I'm actually, I would say now that I'm becoming more of a fan of you know,
Sony, yeah.
yeah, of Sony. Like literally, you know, Microsoft have broken my heart so many times that now I no longer I no longer feel anything for them anymore.
And they
So
can't
it's
sew it back up together now, yeah.
they've broken it so many times, like, you know, and I'm like, nah, I can't do this anymore, because even there's a game called Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
And
Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
it's always been on. Imagine, like, Kingdom Hearts is such a it's a big franchise. Like, a lot of people, you know those series of games, and it's always been exclusive to the PlayStation. Like, it's always been exclusive to PlayStation, and I'm always like, oh man, you know, I really want to play that game as well, you know. And and Microsoft could, if Microsoft was smart, they could also have gotten licensed to, you know, to that game as well. But obviously they didn't, and all of that, like Kingdom Hearts is, you know, games like Kingdom Hearts is now on, you know, is on, obviously, on the PlayStation, and I think Microsoft finally decided to obviously share the exclusivity with Sony as well. So like the final, like Kingdom Hearts 3, that's now ported to the Xbox as well. And I think from now on, but the problem was is that the pricing is a lot more expensive on the Xbox than it is
Is it?
exactly. Like, what they did is to, because they've been like Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and then several other, like Dream Drop Distance, different several Kingdom Hearts game before the final, the most recent one. They've been like games that have came out before, so they got everything as a bundle. You know, when they sell like a game, like series of games in a bundle. So they got
Yeah.
all those games and put it in a bundle, and they were like, okay, you Xbox people, you're gonna buy that for like almost £50, but on the PlayStation, you're gonna buy it for, I don't know, like £15. So so it's like the price difference was incredible, because I was like, yo, so on the Xbox One, because it wasn't originally exclusive to the Xbox One.
Yeah.
To get the bundle, it was really expensive. While on the PlayStation 3, to get to get the bundle it's really cheap. Like, you just pay £15 and you're good, you know. And it just goes back to it again that, you know, PlayStation has got what people want, the
Exactly.
games,
And
you know.
what do you think about the games? Well, not just the game, but another thing. Just before we actually asked that, the people that were talking during the conference,
Mhm.
as you call it, because obviously they were supposed to be locked down. They were during the lockdown when they were trying to record their voices. When I was looking at it, I thought they were actually not real people. They were designed from the PlayStation Engine and then toolkits to show how realistic they actually look.
Well, so the people, imagine. Do you think do you think they were CG?
I think so. I personally think so, because when I was looking at it at first, I was like, whoa. Even my wife was looking at it, because I was watching with her. I was up streaming on my TV, on the TV app, and I was watching, and we were like, whoa, this doesn't look real. These people, they look like some sort of gaming or cinematic CGI or something. It was quite amazing, but that's how I felt like, because they can't remember, they couldn't have recorded it with their suits or anything. Maybe they were recorded their voice, but yeah, that's how I feel. I don't know if that was the same from your end or.
Because for me, I wasn't, because I was
Yeah.
streaming it on I was watching it on my laptop, so I couldn't see the, you know, the detail, and obviously because my internet wasn't that powerful, so I wasn't able to watch in 1080p. So I probably wouldn't see see that detail. But if there were CG, that would be impressive. That that would be crazy impressive. that, man. But to be honest, like I feel like a few years from now, I feel like gaming would become will become to will reach a point where it would be so difficult to distinguish game graphics and real life graphics. Like I feel like it will get to that point. But then what do you think if I say like if it gets to a point where the graphics is so good that it's so hard to tell the difference between real life and game? What do you think? What sort of improvements do you think game consoles or companies like Sony and Microsoft, what improvements do you think they will then go and start making? Like, because obviously you've got Unreal Engine 5 and maybe the next one will be Unreal Engine 6. But if it gets to a point where the graphics is so good that they can't make major improvements, what sort of improvement do you think that they would be able to make from then on out?
Well, I think what's going to happen is depending on how good the internet will be in the future, the Google Stadia, as they had done, where they're using sort of hypercloud sort of servers. You run it, you get connected to the server, and you just run the game from there. So you don't have to have a hardware. All you need is a TV screen and a remote control or control pad to play the game. I think that's going to be in the future. But right now we're not really there with the internet, and that's what's happening. But I think the engines, they're just exactly that. There is going to be a point where you can't really improve. You know how mobile phones, if someone have ideas, they make the processor faster, they make the graphics hard, the processor and the hard drive more expanded, but there's nothing more they can do. They've run out. The design's all the same. People got mobile phones. There's no need to buy a new one unless your current one's sort of broken or you're not, unless you're tired of it or bored of it. It's sort of gonna get to that point. But right now, what they can do is create some sort of game engines and probably put the whole Earth on that game engine so everyone can use. And then what's going to happen is people are going to use their, probably the players will just upload their looks onto the engine. So they are part of the engine and they can use themselves to be the character rather than voice your looks, the way you interact with things, how you touch, things like that. That probably will be implemented into those engines in the future. But I don't know. That's just my ideology. But I don't know how you will feel.
Man, that's a good that's actually a good idea really because if it gets to a point where graphics can no longer be improved and it's gotten to a point where the size of gaming is so massive that you can just put yourself inside the game. That's possible. That's actually possible, and consoles are no longer needed. Everything is all stored in the cloud, and that's very very possible. It's like, wow. It feels like, I think that's when VR, virtual reality, will be more of like a more dominance. I think, for me, I believe that virtual reality will slowly become more dominant, because if they can no longer improve on graphics, and if they are trying to probably get rid of consoles and eventually store everything on the cloud, then I think eventually gaming will become more immersive. I think that might be the next way they want to go. that okay, we're gonna try and make gaming a lot more immersive than it already is, and that you're gonna feel like you're in it, like you're in it. So I think maybe virtual reality might be the next step. Next step after they've gotten to a point where graphics can't be improved anymore. So, well, yeah, that's what I think anyway. But yeah. What
It's
do you think?
interesting, isn't it? I mean, where it's gonna go, and how things are gonna go. I mean, what was your best or favorite looking game, or the favorite thing that you saw during the showcase?
During the showcase, well, because I know for one, I was extremely impressed with I was impressed with with what they showed with Ratchet and Clank to just show us how fast stages can be loaded in. I was impressed with with Horizon. That looks beautiful. That game looks really really good. And I was also impressed with I really did like Spider-Man. But what I hope is that for the Spider-Man Miles Morale is that they give him. I don't want them to make him like a carbon copy of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I need him to have his own set of moves, to have his own set of swinging techniques, to just have his own style. Yeah, unique. Like when you play him, is that you're like, oh, that is Miles Morale, not Peter Parker. So it's basically. But overall, I can't remember the name of the game that you said, the one that looks basically exactly like the Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, the Project Attire. It's a working title. They haven't given it a final name, but that's sort of the project name, I believe. The code name. And it did look amazing, that one, as well as I agree, Horizon 2 looked amazing. Gran Turismo, NBA 2K, you can see a bit of the sweat and the sort of the character and movement. And if I remember, Resident Evil 8, that was really good.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good as well. That actually, I heard that they said this Resident Evil game is gonna be the most goriest Resident that they've ever made. So it's gonna be so gory that it's gonna be like, it's gonna be if you're a fan of gore, you're gonna enjoy it so much. So
because it looked a bit quite weird and scary at the same time, and it's something that's I haven't really played many of the latest Resident Evil games, so I will have to play them before I play number 8. And it probably it did look really good, and probably will be a good upcoming game. And that other game, Kena Bridge of Spirits. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, that one. It reminded me of have you heard of a game called Pikmin?
Pikmin, yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me. Where you've got those. To me, it's like a fusion of Zelda. And
Pikmin. I agree. That's right. The little characters were.
Yeah. So it's like it's a fusion of those two games to obviously create this one. That game actually looks interesting. It actually looks interesting and fun to play as well. So it's just they've just got different variety, and they've got stuff for everybody. They've got stuff for everybody. If you're someone who enjoys hardcore single player game, they've got Horizon for you. If you're a kid and you want to play you want to play kiddish game, they've got, I can't remember what's the name of the game. Is it something? I can't remember, the one with the fruits. I remember the name makes me. The name sounds. If you can remember the name of the game.
Which one?
Fruit Ninja.
No, not Fruit Ninja. They showed it on the showcase as well. It's like different. They're like fruits that. Is it something bud or something but fruit bud or fruit bro? I can't remember the name. If you watch it again, it's basically like a bunch of fruits that talks and stuff. The name sounds a bit weird.
You mean Bug Snacks?
Yes.
The
Yeah,
strawberry
that's,
coming out, that looks weird.
yeah. The name sounds. If you think of the name again, it sounds. It sounds if you get what I mean. If you pronounce the name differently, it sounds different in a different way. So yeah, so that game is like for kids if they enjoy those kind of games. So it's like they've got varieties, they've got different stuff for everybody, and overall it's like a
It's
balance,
interesting,
yeah, like a balanced set of games that they've got with their console as well. So yeah, so I really enjoyed what they showed, and yeah, overall I think PlayStation 5 have got a bright future if the
Of
pricing
course, yeah.
is right. If the pricing
Yeah,
is
the
right.
price is exactly what they need to do now is probably hold off until as we were saying, what Microsoft's going to offer and see what their price is, so they can sort of just deduct it slightly. I would probably say is they will do a slight deduction so they can sort of win over Microsoft like 100%. There's no one way or the other. That is it, Microsoft. You are gonna lose this battle in one way or another.
No, we're gonna crush them completely. It's just mad. I even remember remember the time when they were introducing the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and Xbox and Microsoft were like, "Oh, you can't swap games amongst friends. That in order to do it, you need to." Yeah, I remember. I know it was crazy that you can't swap games amongst friends that you need because they connect to a pick-up how many times you've done this and stuff like that. And then
That's
then
right.
Sony just came in and now says, "Oh, actually, we are able to swap games with friends," and then just passes it.
Yeah, they had a video. I remember where they just before, just after the PS4 announcement. I remember back in February 2013, or I believe it was. And then they did a video where the CEO and someone else was sharing the disc. This is how you just share it, and you just
Share it.
put the disc in.
That's
Which was quite funny, yeah. And then Microsoft obviously after that just said, yeah, you can reuse your games because they had to backtrack after all the negativity they received.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They got so cocky because of the success of the Xbox 360, and they were like, they just got so cocky, and that was their downfall, and they've just been going downhill from there really. So I'm just gonna wait and see what Microsoft has got to offer.
Yeah.
And then we'll hopefully be able to make the correct decision on
which one to go for, isn't it?
Exactly.
And the statistic as well, by the way, is that I was reading, I think it was on BBC, was that the total sales between the three current gen console, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PS4, they've sold quite a lot put together, all of them. But when I was looking at Nintendo Switch and Xbox One, before I get to the PS4, so the Xbox One has sold about 49 million, if I remember, which is quite a lot. Nintendo Switch just slightly overtook it with 53 million.
Wow.
Which is quite something there, and so those two together have sold about 102 million. Now PS4 have sold 108 million. So you put those two guys together, they don't even get close to. Well, they're sort of like nearly 5 million away from getting to PS4.
Wow.
So you can see the fan base on the PlayStation and probably Nintendo and Xbox, unless they combine together to make the next gen console. I think they're going to lose the battle already.
Yeah, wow, that is crazy. I think I haven't heard that. I think Nintendo said, I'm sure they said somewhere that they don't consider themselves a competition for Microsoft and Sony, that they just consider themselves as an add-on, as an additional add-on to those consoles basically. So they don't want to compete, because if they did, if they did, they would get destroyed by Sony especially. I didn't even know Sony sold that much. Like, damn, that is a lot.
That's the statement there, and that's
Wow.
personally, I think it's not, obviously it's not because of the hardware. It's more about the games.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And the gameplay of those games. And we're already being a PS4 owner at the moment, where we're just waiting for The Last of Us 2 coming in a few days. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, even, The Last of Us 2 reviews are already out, and they're giving it like a freaking IGN gave it a freaking 10 out of 10, man, a masterpiece. I'm like, yo, that is mad.
And on Metacritic, it's got high over 95 out of 100, so it's got some really impressive reviews. And it will be interesting. There are some who have some mixed views on it and say that it's too violent for me. I mean, I don't know how you can review a game that's about horror and survival and say it's too horrific for me. Well, why are you playing it? It states the genre as survival and horror.
Survival horror,
Why
yeah.
are you complaining about it? But anyway, it's everybody's view, so we'll see when it comes out, obviously, how it really turns out.
Yeah. And even despite the leaks that came out, and people were like really like worried, and people didn't like what they saw within the leaks for The Last of Us 2. So I was like really surprised that most of the reviews that are coming out were so good, like saying there's a masterpiece. I definitely know it's gonna get Game of the Year 100%. Like it will. Like there isn't any other games that's coming out this year that will beat it. So I think it's it's on its own anyway. But I think it will definitely win the Game of the Year. But hopefully when it does come out, then we can see for ourselves to see if the story is as good as the first one. I definitely know the gameplay will be it's obviously going to be better than the first game, but what I feel is that the story for the first game is what I really liked. The story really drew me in, and stuff like that. So
Characters as well. The characters were really well written and portrayed and described, and it was that's why I really enjoyed the characters more, and exactly that, the story. The gameplay, I didn't feel like the gameplay was brilliant.
I know it wasn't. It was your average gameplay. It's just you've got the characters are very likable. The stories, the motivation behind their actions, everything was it was very good with the first one. So that's why the leaks was a bit was getting people worried, because it was kind of the opposite of what they were hoping for. But when we do get the games ourselves and we'll play it, then we'll make our own opinion of it, and hopefully we can do a review for it.
So I mean, I think we can end it now, and then this podcast, and hopefully for the next episode, we'll see how it goes.
So it'll be the first time I think you two have been playing on the same console as well.
Probably. If Femi gets the PS5 and myself, then we'll definitely.
We'll definitely be able to play on the same console.
Awesome, man. So I think I think you guys want to wrap it up there.
We'll
cool.
cover all the points.
No worries. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this special episode. Tune in next week, where we're going to talk about OnlyFans, the Pyramids conspiracy, and Nathalie Adventures and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that one. But make sure you like, subscribe, and check out this channel. Once again, we'll have new videos every week. So I'll speak to you all in the next video. So from me, Femi, Dewan, it's goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye, guys.